David Brewster here with a new episode of Breaking Chords, and this is the Finger Independence Workout. And this episode's actually related to the Stranger Things guitar workout, which I created and released about a year ago here on my channel. So if you like this workout and this episode, revisit or visit, the Stranger Things guitar workout for a little bit more, based around this basic idea. But this workout I've had for a very long time, for decades, and I actually uncovered it when I was a student at AIM in Atlanta, the Atlanta Institute of Music. And we were working on major seventh arpeggios, moving up the fretboard. And then I remember sitting there with the material and I weaved between two positions just to see how I could connect them. And I uncovered this idea, and I've had it with me ever since. I've used it as a warm-up and an exercise for a long time, and I've shared it with students over the years. So if you ever study with me in private lessons, I probably shared this with you. But this is going to revolve around C major 7. And here's an image with the breakdown of the notes from the C major 7 arpeggio. It's basically the root, the third, the fifth, and the seventh, or C, E, G, and B, just like this. So if you watch the Stranger Things guitar workout, or you've heard the theme from the show Stranger Things, then you've heard this initial motif that we're going to start with here. But then I'm going to expand this into a 2-octave arpeggio for my workout. But the Stranger Things theme, kind of flowing arpeggio is right here. Just up and down through that C major arpeggio right there. C, E, G, B, and then C, B, G, E. So you're just kind of going up and down that flowing arpeggio. So that's close to the workout we're going to look at here. And the C major arpeggio, or C major 7 arpeggio, we can expand it like this. It's a 2-octave version. There's the first octave and then the second octave up there. And the way I want you to play this, it's actually kind of an interesting rhythm. We're going to do 1 bar of 4/4 and then 1 bar of 5/4 to kind of complete that cycle through C major 7, like this. Really slow, it's like this. And we're going to end on that B right there. So that's the first little pass right here. Right there, we're already investigating, using finger independence. We're starting with your middle finger, and then we're leading to the next string with your index. That hammer on with your pinky. Then we're going to shift up index to middle, index to pinky, and then right there, you're going to start with your third finger. So talk about finger independence. And you're also using your pinky right there, so that's hard. Right there. Then come back down, middle to index, pinky to index to middle. The middle again. So that's really demanding on the fret hand, because you're not always leading with your index finger. Sometimes it's your third finger or your pinky or your middle finger, like this. So practice that before we move ahead in this episode. For this workout and exercise, I'm not going to shred through anything here, and I recommend that you shouldn't shred through this either. Don't burn your way through this, because that's not really what we're doing here. This is a warm-up or a workout, and we're building, strength and dexterity and finger independence. So you don't want to fly through this stuff. And you could pick everything. If you want to pick every single note, you can play it that way, make it more of a picking exercise. But I typically use legato, hammer-ons and pull-offs wherever possible. And typically I am picking really just the first note on each new string. But then there are a few places where I do pick again on the same string. So let me walk through that. Start here, pick, and then you're going to do a hammer-on right there between that A and G. Hammer-on between B and C. Hammer-on between E and G. And then right here I pick the B, and then I pick that C again before I pull off back to B. Like that, like this. And when I start on that C right there, it's kind of a clean beginning for the descending part. And just get get to where you can really smoothly play through that with no mistakes. Right now we're going to move that C major 7 arpeggio to a G major 7 arpeggio. And we're really just going to move everything we did here to the next set of strings, lower. So start on this G right there, and it's kind of similar, even though the fingering is going to be a little bit different because now we're navigating on that B string to include the right notes. But right here, here's G major 7. Once again, don't worry about playing this fast. It's not a speed thing. You're really just wanting to be as accurate and just build that dexterity and strength as much as you can. So right there, I would recommend just move between C and go up and down, and then go to G and move up and down. And it's interesting that the last note for C, or C major 7, was B. And that's actually the third for G, the one we're going to move to right there. So let me play through that so you can kind of see what I'm talking about. Start on C like this. Right there, start on G. Right? Just like this. Now, I'm pretty sure I did this in the Stranger Things guitar workout, but we took that initial, arpeggio from the theme of Stranger Things, and then we moved it through the circle of fifths. And we're going to do the exact same thing with this kind of extended arpeggio workout. So we're going to start in C, and then navigate and weave our way through the circle of fifths until we reach the octave of C. And just to give you kind of a heads up, that's going to be C to G, and then G to D, and then D to A, and then A to E, E to B, B to F sharp to C sharp, and then that C sharp, which also could be seen as a D flat, but that C sharp to A flat to E flat to B flat to F, and then finally F to C. So if you saw what I was doing there, we're just kind of inching our way up to that octave of C right there. But here's an image showing the layout or kind of the, arrangement of the circle of fifths. Right now I'm just going to walk through this whole exercise. Here's the entire finger independence workout like this. So start in C. G and do the G major 7. And you're ending on that F sharp, and that F sharp is the third of the next arpeggio, which is D major right there. But we're moving from that G. All the way up here and grab that D, and we're going back to that C major 7, fingering, but on the A string in the key of D right here. C sharp's that last note. The next, key we're going to move it to is A, so that's the third of A major right there, and then do A major 7 right there. Next one, which is E right here. And B right there. And F sharp right there. And C sharp right there. And A flat. Right there. And B flat up here. And F right there. And finally we're back at C right there, an octave higher than where we started. So that's, basically just walking through that workout, and that's really demanding on your fret hand. It's also forcing you to kind of think about that circle of fifths, what's the next key that we're moving this to. And that's just a great, workout, especially for building finger independence and strength and dexterity and moving across the strings, weaving between different positions. There's a lot going on right there. Now I'm going to play through the complete workout without talking or stopping, and I'm just going to use like a moderate, kind of easy tempo. I'm not trying to fly through it or blaze through it, definitely not trying to impress anybody out there. I'm trying to help the viewers out there with this workout, and this is a great workout for sure. And you can definitely play this slower than I'm about to demonstrate it, and once you get comfortable with it, you could bump it up and play it faster. But the only rule I would recommend, with this workout, you can approach it almost like a game. And start playing through this workout. If you make a mistake anywhere, stop wherever you are, and you have to go back to the beginning and start again. Like game over, try again type of thing. And just play through it like this. I flubbed a couple notes, kind of, but you can be, it depends on how critical you want to be. If you really want to be critical, and make absolutely zero mistakes, no fret noise, no buzzing notes or whatever, you can be that critical. But just try to play all the way through it connected, keep it smooth and even, something like that. That's going to wrap this episode of Breaking Chords with the finger independence workout. And depending on who you are and what style of music you play, you may not actually use all of your fret hand fingers. I know there's a lot of three-fingered guitarists out there that don't use their pinky. And I'm not really just pointing my finger at Michael Schenker, but Michael Schenker's definitely one. He does all kinds of crazy stretches, but rarely ever uses that pinky. Reb Beach is another one. He doesn't use his pinky either. And there's lots of players that don't. But I distinctly remember when I was a kid, I was probably about 13 or 14, and I met a guy. He was at least 10 or 15 years older than me. He was older. He was like in his late 20s or something. He had a Marshall half stack. He had a Fender Strat. He had the first wah pedal I ever saw. And he was older, and he could actually really play. And I remember, we were talking one day, and he handed me his guitar, and I started playing something, and he stopped me. And he said, "Hey, you're only using three fingers. The world has enough three-finger guitarists. Use your pinky. Don't be a wimp," or whatever he said. And here's this older guy. I'm very impressionable and young at the time. And I remember I took exactly what he said. And I went home that night or whatever, and I started working on using my pinky. And I never, turned back or looked back. And I definitely remember that, being called out by somebody like, "Hey, don't be a three-finger guitarist." And that locked in my brain, and I've held that ever since. So if this is new, as far as using all of your fret hand fingers, move through this really slow, right? And maybe revisit some scales and chords and some things that and try to incorporate that pinky if you tend to avoid using your pinky. And you're just basically kind of getting used to playing things on the guitar, starting with any finger. Obviously your index finger is the first finger you usually lead with, and then your middle finger, maybe for sliding and bending or vibrato. But then getting used to using your third finger to lead or start a phrase or a lick, or your pinky, that takes a lot of conditioning and practice and strength building. And this episode will definitely help. So anyway, leave some feedback and comments. Please subscribe to Night Lessons, and I'll be back before you know it with more content and material. Thank you.